Is that joke getting old yet? Nah, we still love it. Changing strings again. Thought you might want to ride along. If you don't, that's okay. There's plenty of other YouTube videos you could be watching. 10 blues riffs you're playing wrong. I don't you hate it when people put that kind of shit in the thumbnails? Things you're doing wrong, riffs you've been playing wrong. What do they just assume we're a bunch of numbskulls? Anyway, good morning, friends. It's Sunday morning. Changing strings on this old Firebird. I've been like the library lately, loaning guitars to people. All my younger friends, they all want to borrow stuff, and I can't say no to them. You know, the boys in the Cliffs got like 18 of my guitars at this point. So then I bring them back, and the strings are all knackered. But you know what? I don't mind. It gives us a chance to make more videos about changing strings. Firebird is a particularly hard guitar to change strings on, by the way. It's just awkward when you try to get up here in the tuning area region, their tuning key area. Listen to those strings. That's Seth. He's got some strong acid in those hands. I love his playing. God, he's such a great player. You know those guys in the Cliffs. You know those guys. He loves this guitar, by the way. Seth says this is his favorite guitar in the world. And I said, man, start saving your shekels. One day I'll sell it to you. Look, check it out. The boys at the Gruhn's tidied up the old Cadillac. Got it rocking, got the original pickups covers back on. Put a new nut, or fixed up the nut that was there. Beautiful job. Peter did that. You know, I thought I was going to have to change the bridge on this thing because it wasn't going back far enough. And sure enough, when he recut the nut and cut the fulcrum right. Remember I talked about the fulcrum? The intonation is perfect. I mean, they're back. The saddles are way back, but it works. This thing is dead in tune, man. Feeling great. Cool guitar, man. Damn. I think it looks pretty cool with the covers on, don't you? You know, regarding that second wave of vintage that I talked about the other day, you know, we're in the era now where like hairband guys are old enough now to where the shit they played when they were kids is actually collectible. Think about that. Man, I'm getting old. Guess what kind of guitar I played back in my hairband days? If you guessed a pink Ibanez Proline PR 1440, you were correct. I actually had two of them. And then this weirdo guy who stalked me bought it from me ages ago. I didn't even know he ended up with the guitar. And he got into a fight on the internet with my sister somehow on Facebook, and he got so upset that he smashed the guitar. He sent her pictures of this guitar that he had been keeping in a shrine. I don't know. I'm making this stuff up. There is some truth to that story, though. I got some VCB for you. I get a lot of stalkers, a lot of weirdos coming at me. You might have noticed. I've told you that. I'm not sure what causes that. Maybe it's something in my personality. Maybe I'm a stalker weirdo. Who knows? But lovely, peaceful Saturday or Sunday. Very chill. The boys in what was I going to say? The boys in the Vince bands were kind enough to send a message saying they missed old Uncle Larry. I guess Ebo texted me and said that Jed's playing through my amps while I'm gone. And I just think that's hilarious because Jed's got this. He's got 2 amps out. He's got a Blackface Vibrolux and some kind of clone Tweed Deluxe, and Ebo does not like it. He said, "I think it's such a piece of shit." He goes, "Man, the guy that made this copied the Tweed Deluxe and copied all the wrong shit." Ebo's pretty funny about shit like that. He is not easily impressed by amps and amp building because he's so damn good at it himself, you know. But oh man, funny shit. I love stuff like that. But you know, Jed sounds good through any damn thing he plays through. It doesn't matter. You could give him a goddamn pig nose, and he's gonna make it work. So it don't matter. But thank you guys for all the kind words recently regarding the recent videos, the recent rash of videos. Man, this board is filthy. I should probably do something about this. Yeah, I better do something about that. I better take all these strings off. Seth, man, come on, dude. Oh, dude, okay. I kind of like it when a guitar gets a little bit of funk on it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? Like, they don't have to be like real clean and tidy for me. But then there's a point when the funk exceeds my funk limit. I think strings sound really good when they got a little bit of funk on them. But look at these things, man. Look at that. You probably can't see that, can you? But yeah, let's see. Let's get into some VCB here. One guy said, "Hey, you were." Hold on a minute. He said, "I just read that Shaq has the only convertible Hellcat ever made, one of one." Well, you reckon he would because the guy's, what is he, 7 feet tall? I remember one time when I was on the road years ago with Faith Hill, many years ago. That must have been like 2007. Oh man, this thing is just covered in funk. We were out by the tour bus, I remember, and I was watching like a sea of people walk by. And I saw in the distance this guy that looked like he was just like somebody was carrying him on somebody's shoulders. And I realized it wasn't. It was a guy that was just that tall. And he was just like freakishly tall, like 7'7" or something like that. And I went and found him out in the crowd, and I brought him on the tour bus. And then we chatted it up, and he hung out with all the guys in the band. It was insane. He said he was the tallest guy in America, like literally, like something like that. Tallest white guy in America. I can't remember what it was. Something like that. Sweet guy. He was like a motorcycle enthusiast. And he said, I said, "Man, really?" He goes, "Yeah, I can't drive in cars. I can't get on airplanes." He said, "That's why I love motorcycles." Pretty cool. Imagine being that fucking tall. I mean, I'm tall, 6'2", but that ain't no damn 7'7". That was a long time ago. I used to have a picture of him somewhere, but I don't know what happened to it. This ain't gonna work, is it? This shit's got fucking gunk all over it. You gotta get creative here sometimes with this shit. It's not coming out of there. I gotta poke a hole in it. I'm gonna use the corporate poker. You know the corporate poker? There we go. That should do it. Oh yeah, there we go. Whoa, big old blob. Board's getting a little funky. A little bit funky. Oh man. Yeah, 7'7", man. That was crazy. He was a sweet guy. I remember that. Imagine the shoes a guy like that would wear. Oh man, look at that. Rock and roll. these guys, when the Cliffs boys come over, they always come up here in my music room and play all these old guitars. It's always interesting to hear which ones they like the best. You know, from the mind of a 20-something-year-old. You know, like they all have a healthy respect for vintage guitars, but some of them, they seem to like some of them better than others. You know, but man, that's way better. Look at that. Ready for its next beating. They really like that 58 Les Paul Special that I got. That's one of the corporate favorites. Let's see. Okay. Tom, you are getting increasingly cryptic. I like it. I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? Am I like speaking in code or something? One guy said, "Hey Tom, how do sessions get scheduled?" Good question. Yeah, I probably have talked about that at some point in the past, but I don't remember. It's just nobody. It's nothing. It's like once you get well known as a session player, people just call you. They text you and say, "Hey, are you available on so and so?" I've never had a manager or anybody that does that for me. God, I fucking need one. What I really need is a fucking secretary. It's really, it's kind of it's kind of ridiculous that I try to do my own schedule. There's a lot of room for error there, friends. I've ended up double booking myself, forgetting to write down, you know, certain sessions, and man, it can be frightening. All these producer guys that hire me, they all have a person that works for them. You know, like a girl that books all the sessions. You know, that does all their scheduling, and they all laugh because I am such a nightmare to try to book. They all like, I'm terrible about getting back to people on text. I'm always the last guy to return the text about booking the session, and they all get really frustrated, and that type of thing. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it like this. You can do it either way. But yeah, I mean, I don't even have a digital. I'm the only guy that doesn't use like a digital calendar on my phone. You know what I mean? All the other guys are like in the 20th, 21st century. I still write everything down on a piece of paper. It's pretty crude. But I don't really mind. I don't really care. I don't care about it that much. When I was younger, I really cared about it. It was really important to me, like, to try to make it to every fucking session and do all that shit, and that's cool. I used to go. What I really did a lot when I was younger was I was always trying to get the best session. Like, I would already be booked on something, and then somebody would call with a better session, and I would go through all these hoops to try to move the one that I had and cancel it and find a sub and shit like that. It was like a thing, because I was always worried about getting like on the best possible session. And man, nowadays I don't even do any of that. If it would have to be Jesus himself calling me to make me move a session now, because I just don't want to go through all that. It's a nightmare. Let's try to, like, oh dude, can you find me a sub for that day? You know, all that shit. I don't do that anymore. But that's kind of what you do when you're young. You're just worried about getting on the best possible gig. That is for studio and live, you know. That's it. Let's see. Let's get this string on, and then we'll move to a new VCB. MaximumLarry.com/course. That's the website you go to sign up for the course and get 50% off. MaximumLarry.com/course. That'll be the title of this video. So you always know where to go to get your 50% off for the course that's coming out on what day again, friends? June 6th. That's going to be a red letter day in my life, I got to tell you. Working really hard on that thing for the last, God, year and a half. It'll be great to get it finally. Get that boat out in the water. You know what I'm saying? Here's another VCB. Let's see. Your rendition of Red made me spit my coffee on my iPad. Dave May. Oh man, his speaking voice, Red Volkaert, is just hilarious. So loud and so, he's great. He's that dude is just hilarious. I used to go see him play all the time when, like back in the 90s when he lived in Nashville. He would play it all the time at these bars down in, Printers Alley and downtown. The first time I ever saw him play was at this really weird old club called Skull's Rainbow Room. I remember I had just moved to town. It was the early 90s. And I was hanging out at some bar and I ran into this girl. And she goes, she was talking to me and she goes, "You ever heard Red Volkaert play?" And I was like, "No." She goes, "Come with me right now." And she drugged me out of that bar and took me into Skulls. And I stood there and watched him. And it was fucking unbelievable. I will never forget it. It was a really cool old room, actually. It was a really cool stage. And it had a real weird vibe. And it was a pretty cool place. And there was a guy named Skull who owned it, who would just sit at the back of the bar. And he was like a hoarder, and he would sit at the bar and he had these giant stacks of papers all around him. He was crazy. And that's the first time I ever saw Red, man. I was blown away. I mean, I'd never seen anybody play guitar like that. Completely just blown away. And that would have been probably 1993, 1992 probably. And I used to go see him all the time at this place called Robert's Western World, and man, some of the shit he would do in there was so damn funny. Like, he'd be playing a solo, and the stage was right by the door, right? The front door where people walk in, and then people were just walking in and out of there. It's like a tourist place, right? And he'd be in the middle of a solo, and then some hot girl would walk in right by where he's standing on the stage, and he would purposely like blow the solo in a really comical way, like act like he's just looking at her. Oh my God, the way he would do that, it was so damn funny. Oh God, what a great sense of humor. Love that dude. I think it was probably a good thing for him to move to Austin. He seems like he likes it better there than he did in Nashville. I might be wrong about that, but that's the vibe I got. So that's good for him. But if you're out there, Red, let me know, man. You like Austin better than Nashville? He seemed pretty happy when I ran into him at the guitar show recently. Seemed like he's in a good place. He's doing great. Man, what a fucking great player. Sweet, sweet guy. Love him. Did you guys check out those videos I showed you for the Western Flyers? Good shit, man. Good shit. Let's see here. Yeah, these are really hard guitars to change strings on. It's like one step down from the Rickenbacker 12-string, which we all know is the most nightmarish guitar on planet Earth to change strings on. Have you ever tried that, friends? That is not for the faint of heart, that one. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're getting there. You've been probably thinking to yourself, man, Larry, who made that fucking killer bridge for that bird there? This is an old bird. I think this is like a late 63. Firebird 5. This bridge was made by my friend Nick Druschel at Glazer Instruments. He took an old ABR1, cut the corners off, and put it on the original stud holes. Genius. Genius shit. Pretty fucking cool. An actual, the original bridge was terrible on these, it's not compensated. You guys know about the Firebird models, like what makes a Firebird a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7. Do you know about this? I'm sure most of you do. So, there is no such thing as Firebird 2, 4, 6. They were all odd numbers, right? 1, 3, 5, and 7. First year was 1963, late 63. And the higher the number, the more pimp the guitar is. The ones are the real Spartan, single pickup, dot inlays, no fanciness at all. I had one of those a while back. You guys probably saw it. I had a real early one. Cool guitar, but for me, kind of useless with just one pickup, The neck pickup is what makes the Bird so great. Firebird 3 is the next step up, which got dot inlays, 2 pickups, no blocks, more cheeseoid bridge situation. Firebird 5, you start getting into the more deluxe models with the crowns and the lyre vibrola. Firebird 7 is the one that's like got the appointments of a Les Paul custom. It's got the fancy binding. It's got gold hardware, 3 pickups, big block inlays, right? Like Brian Jones played. Those are hard to find. You never see a Firebird 7. They're really rare. When I was at Gruhn's yesterday, I popped in there and I had a great chat with Greg Voros, and George came wandering over, started talking with us, and man, it was just another one of those George moments that I wish I had on video. Greg started asking George some questions about old D'Angelico and Gibson archtops, and George just fucking launched into full George mode, talking about the most esoteric shit and just nailing these facts of that. And I was just thinking to myself while he was doing that, even Greg was just sitting there dumbfounded. How many guys on earth are there that have the kind of knowledge about instruments that guy has? It's astounding. That we all think we like to think we know a lot about guitars and shit, Yeah, I've had a lot of guitars. I always said I'm no expert. I mean, I know a shit ton about guitars, but I am no expert. I've owned a lot of guitars. I've tried a lot of shit. I have a lot of opinions about guitars, but I'm not an expert. I don't know who made the 17-inch body first. Was it Epiphone or Gibson? I don't know what year was the first year of the L5. I don't know what month Lloyd Loar left the factory in 1924. I don't know what year Lloyd Loar died. George knows all this shit just by memory. It's astounding. Greg was asking him if Gibson copied D'Angelico or D'Angelico copied Gibson, and George was like, "Are you kidding?" He's like, "D'Angelico copied everything that Gibson ever did." He named about 10 examples of things that D'Angelico copied from Gibson. And Greg was just sitting there going, damn, okay. Because it's incredible, man. And it's just that kind of old school knowledge that people don't even bother to learn this shit anymore. Because it's all so readily available on the internet. So why bother committing all this to memory? But it's fascinating when you see a dude that just fucking knows this shit. Say what you want about, everyone's got opinions about, like, I've heard people say shit like, George Gruhn makes money hand over fist, he's a greedy guy, he's always trying to rip everybody off. That is so not true. That business has been around for 55 years, And only in the last 10 years have they started actually making money. I mean, everyone who out there, if any of you guys out there think that George Gruhn is trying to get over on people, you are fucking dead wrong. He barely makes any money. That he's got 20 employees in there, and he pays them all full salary and health insurance. I mean, name another music store that does that. His overhead and insurance is so insane. You wouldn't even believe. And I respect it, man. You know, George always says himself he's a terrible businessman. He's told me that a million times. He doesn't really have any of his own instruments. He's got a small collection. He puts all the money back into the business. I respect that. He takes care of his employees, man. He really does. It's a fucking cool thing. Okay, we're all set. There you go. Hope that's enough rambling for today. I'll talk to you all soon. Peace out.